Alright guys, we're on Kentucky Lake. Time to go cranking. I don't know, just different stuff. Haven't been on the lake in a couple weeks. So, got the GoPro, don't know how this is gonna go. It might be very bad. Don't know. Oh God, Jimmy.
Oh my God.
Jimmy, it's a big one.
It's about 6-7 pounds.
He lifted it. He choked it, dude. Just get it. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it.
There he is. He's landing.
Bam! Oh yeah. Choked it. Oh man, that feels good. Look how he ate that, guys. Oh man. So I don't usually like to kill fish, but in this case that was a fatality because that hook was not coming out of that fish's throat. All that was left by the time I got to it was the bill. So he was screwed either way. But it's going in the freezer. One more GoPro footage. And it almost is insane. Camera probably can't do it. I'm gonna let this big dude go. I think it's time to make a video on crankbaits because we're catching them on crankbaits. So if I don't catch any more fish, we're going back to my house and talk about crankbaits. Because crankbaits are important. Kentucky Lake is important too. I caught another one of these stupid drum. This one's not as big, but this Asian carp definitely is. I didn't think this was an Asian, but I'm fairly certain it is, considering that's the eye hole. Oh man, I'm shaking. Anyway, wrong species, buddy. Oh man, guys, it is so dark. Like, this camera doesn't show how dark it actually is out there. I don't even know if you guys can hear me because this wind is rough, but it looks good over there. And when you get back over here, it's not so good looking. So I think we're done. Let's go back to the desk and talk about what you really need for some crankbaits, because crankbaits are important. Okay, so the fishing today was pretty good. Some of my audio really sucked, and whenever I caught that drum, my GoPro died. But we had a good day of fishing. As you saw, I was catching them on crankbaits. There were 3 different crankbaits that I caught them on today. And they were all different. They all did different things. That one good bass that I caught, he actually swallowed the crankbait so good that there was no way for me to save him. So he got put in the freezer, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It happens. It's going to happen with a crankbait. Let's talk about how and what you need to fish a crankbait. Most crankbaits have treble hooks like these. Okay, that's important whenever you're crankbait fishing, because you have to have a somewhat specific rod for this. Okay, you need a rod that has some give in it. It needs to be able to bend some, or quite a bit actually. Okay, because if you have too stiff of a rod, you will pull those treble hooks right out of the fish, and that's not good. You don't need to do that. You need one that's got some tip. What you're trying to do is keep them pinned. You're not trying to, like, just, it's not a jig or something like that. You're trying to keep it pinned and reel it in. This one is a 7-foot medium moderate rod. It's made for square bills and stuff like that. I actually do use cranks that go down like 9 feet on it. I wish it was a little bit longer so I could do that better, but it's not. You also need a slower reel, a slower gear ratio reel, like a 5-to-1. Somewhere in that 5 series is really good. This is the White Max from Casting. It's a 5-to-1 reel. It's a 5.3-to-1 reel. And it's perfect. It slows your bait down enough to where you're not just going like really quick with it. You're going just right. You're in that strike zone, and you're not pulling it away from the fish too fast. You're going just right. It's a little bit different. I like this kind of reel for other things too, like swim baits, spinner baits, square reels, deep divers, anything that really moves with a lot of action other than like a swim jig or something like that. This is generally the kind of reel that I'm going to use for that application. Your line is also important. You want a fluorocarbon sink so you can get that maximum depth out of your crankbait. In my case, I'm using the Bushido 12-pound fluorocarbon from American Tackle Company. You can get it at fishingfx.com as well. It's an awesome line, and it's pretty abrasion resistant. It's also very strong. I caught that drum on 12-pound line. Yeah, that's some strong stuff. There's many different types of crankbaits. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I caught most of my fish today running between a wake bait, that Strike King wake bait down there, oh man, what was it? It was a Strike King Series 3 that we found in a tree, but it was still a Strike King Series 3. I like Strike King stuff. And then there was a deep diver that one of my friends gave me. It was a deeper diver. It went down to like 12 feet, I think. The other Strike King went down to like 9. And we caught them paralleling rocks, bumping them off of rocks. That's kind of what you're trying to do with a crankbait. It's not really like a suspending bait. You can catch them suspended on it, but it's not the best way to do it. Cover is kind of important. Deep divers, ledges, and stuff like that, that structure. Same sort of idea. But bumping off of rocks, bumping off of trees, that was the key for today. We actually had a few trees laying around, and generally the trees had a fish or two on them. We caught a ton of fish today, and not all of them came on camera. In fact, only I think 2, maybe 3 of them got on camera. So I did what I could with what I had. So that's a short little overview of crankbaits. I did the best that I could. We'll talk more about them because I love cranking. I live on Kentucky Lake. Kentucky Lake fish love crankbaits, and I love throwing them. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you right here next time on Kendall Arnold Always Catches a Fish. Yeah.